Clark Gable's Rhett Butler in Gone with the Wind is one of the most famous romantic heroes ever put on film. Even people who have never watched the movie know the line, "Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn." It is delivered with that perfect dismissive bite, cementing Rhett in pop culture forever as the ultimate scoundrel lover. But what makes Gable's performance so enduring is that it is not simply charming or rakish, it is layered, vulnerable, and in the end, heartbreakingly tragic. He is the rogue who loved too much and could not save the woman he adored or himself. Gone with the Wind was Hollywood's biggest smash hit. Released in 1939, it was an unprecedented production in scale and budget. It is hard to overstate how massive this movie was at the time. It won 10 Academy Awards, was the highest-grossing film for decades when adjusted for inflation, and became a cultural phenomenon. But at its center, beyond the burning of Atlanta and the sweeping Technicolor landscapes, is a messy, flawed love story that feels strangely modern in its complexity. Clark Gable was the perfect choice for Rhett Butler. He was already the king of Hollywood, known for his charisma and masculine magnetism. But Rhett was something different. He was not a spotless hero. He was a blockade runner, an opportunist, a man who openly mocked the pretensions of the Southern aristocracy while profiting from the war. He was cynical about the Old South's doomed romanticism, and in that sense, he was a deeply modern character even in 1939. Gable plays Rhett with that signature twinkle in his eye, but it is never just easy charm. There is danger in him. When he first sees Scarlett at the barbecue, his expression is half amused, half predatory. He knows exactly what she is: spoiled, vain, beautiful, irresistible. And unlike every other man in the room, he does not pretend she is something she is not. He actually sees her. That is the seductive power of Rhett Butler. He tells the truth, even when it hurts. Especially when it hurts. One of the most fascinating things about Gable's performance is how clearly he telegraphs Rhett's vulnerability. For all his swagger, you can see how deeply he wants Scarlett's love. He is constantly pushing her away with biting jokes and cynical remarks, but they are defenses. He is terrified of how much he cares for her, of how much power she has over him. That complexity is what makes Rhett more than just the stock bad boy of romance. He is a man who uses irony and cruelty to shield himself from the agony of unrequited love. There is something distinctly Regency era in that dynamic, even though the film is set in the American South during the Civil War. The rigid social codes, the obsession with class and reputation, the desperation to maintain an aristocratic lifestyle in the face of ruin, it all echoes the themes of Jane Austen's world. But Gone with the Wind is Austen turned Gothic. The manners are sharper, the stakes are life and death, and the characters are driven by darker passions. Scarlett O'Hara herself is no innocent heroine. She is vain, selfish, often cruel, but Rhett loves her precisely because she is real. She is a survivor. He sees himself in her. Gable's performance shines in the way he never romanticizes her faults. He mocks her mercilessly, but also admires her ruthlessness. Their chemistry is electric, precisely because it is not polite or idealized. It is raw, transactional, sometimes ugly, but undeniably magnetic. And that is the heart of Gone with the Wind. The idea that love can be consuming without being redemptive. Rhett and Scarlett are perfectly matched in their flaws, but they cannot save each other. Gable lets Rhett's growing desperation show, especially as Scarlett continues to pine for Ashley Wilkes, the embodiment of everything Rhett hates about the Old South: its hypocrisy, its false gentility, its doomed idealism. Watching Rhett realize that Scarlett will never truly love him the way he wants is devastating. One of the most painful scenes is when their daughter, Bonnie, dies. It is the moment Rhett finally breaks. Gable drops all pretense of sardonic humor. His grief is raw, unfiltered, horrifying. The man who laughed at death and fire is reduced to begging. It is a performance that strips Rhett down to his core, a father who cannot protect his child, a husband who has lost everything. And then there is that famous ending. Scarlett pleads with him to stay. She promises to change, and Rhett, after years of humiliations and heartbreak, finally walks away. Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. It is the perfect, brutal line. But watch Gable's face. It is not triumphant, it is exhausted, broken. He knows he cannot keep doing this. He loves her, but he has nothing left to give. Yet Gone with the Wind refuses to close the door completely. As Rhett leaves, Scarlett collapses, but then steadies herself. She swears she will get him back. She has that same iron will he always admired. The film ends on that cliffhanger promise, not of happy ever after, but of unbroken determination. We do not know if she succeeds. We only know she will try. It is a hauntingly honest ending, because it understands these two people are too strong, too stubborn to ever truly be finished with each other. That is what makes Rhett Butler such a powerful romantic hero. He is not perfect, he is not even noble in the traditional sense. He is messy, self-serving, but he loves with a kind of terrifying honesty. He never lies to Scarlett about who she is. He never lies about who he is. And ultimately, that is what destroys them, and what keeps their story alive in our imaginations. Because even when he walks away, we believe it is not over. Not for her, not for him, not for us watching all these decades later. Clark Gable's Rhett Butler remains the gold standard for the romantic antihero on screen. Decades later, he still fascinates us because he is so painfully human. He shows us that love can be consuming, destructive, and yet somehow irresistible. And that is why, no matter how many times we watch it, we are still wondering, did she ever win him back? Until next time, keep your petticoats pressed and your hearts in peril.